This is a segment of the show we call Coach's Corner. There is no person better to lead this than my buddy and co-host Wayne Bidelman, business and marketing strategist and coach to many small business owners in the area. Take it away, my friend.
All right, today's Coach's Corner question is, well, I was in sales 15 years ago. I'm now starting my own business where I need to be the initial sales marketing person. Has the sales process changed all that much such that I will need to do things differently than I used to? Well, I know you're going to complain again, Joe, because this is such a general question. We don't know their business and whatever. So talking in generalities, my comment would be, if you haven't been in sales for 15 or 20 years, I'd say there's a chance that things have changed. Think about how you used to buy a car. You know, it used to be you dreaded it because the only way you could buy a car was to go to the dealership and talk with a salesperson. In other words, it used to be that the sellers had the control. And what has been a major change now is that the buyers have so much more control than they used to have. I mean, think about buying a car now. You probably know everything there is to know about a car before you go in and try and buy it. So it is the information age. You can do a lot of things online. You can learn about things online. And I think people are more skeptical, and I think they expect to be able to find information about whatever it is they're buying, so they don't have to necessarily trust the salesperson that's doing. And that's a major shift. Now, whether that happened in 15 years or 20 or whatever, I don't know. But one of the key things that most people forget when they're doing their marketing and their sales process is that they're leaving out what I call the engage and educate portion. In other words, once you know somebody's interested in what you have, that's great, you've done a good job, but why should they continue to talk to you, and how can you educate them? Because some people describe marketing as the process of educating the buyer so they make the right decision. And if you play that role as a business, that can really, really help you get that sale because you're helping them. And I think the buyer's process is longer than it used to be. People move through the buying process, but it's because they continue to get more and more information to make a better decision. So I just suggest that, yes, things have changed a bit. I've got to tell a quick story. In fact, a coach that I used to use told this once, when you're talking about education, he said, if you ever know you're going to be in competition, direct competition with all your competitors, in other words, who you're trying to get to buy from you is going to talk to you and all your competitors, here's what you do. You play an education role. You go to them and you say, I know you're talking to all my competitors, and I think that's a great idea, but what's important to me is that you make the right decision. And so what you do is you give them a checklist and say, here's a checklist of all the things you ought to ask every person, every one that you're talking to about the product or service that you're looking at. And then if you're really clever, that checklist ends up including all the things that your business is unique and different and compelling versus your competition. So you're helping educate them, but you're also, to some extent, setting them up by giving them a good, solid checklist of things to ask the competition when, in fact, you would shine better than they do. And so, it's only unethical if you don't think you're as good or better than your competitors, which, of course, you do. And so that's a great education technique that really helps the marketing sales process. So, Joe.
Yeah.
You've been making notes. What do you have to say?
Well, let me just be as clear as I can. I think you were a little soft at this. Let me be as clear as I can. The sales process has changed. It is absolutely, completely different than it was even 5 years ago. It is Sales is changing as rapidly as technology is changing because your buyers, your clients are embracing technology. And as long as that keeps happening, you have no choice but to be a part of that. You used to only need a phone. Now you really have to look at how your client is trying to get information from you, and they are trying to gather that information online and on mobile devices as much as they possibly can before they come and talk to you. And they are pricing you well in advance of actually meeting you. So that process has changed tremendously. And the other thing that has changed is they don't want to have 3 and 4 conversations with you. They don't want to call you to say, can we set a time to talk, so they can call you back again so you can talk for a couple of minutes and then say, maybe we should meet. They don't want that process. They want it condensed so that when they pick up the phone, you can say, great, let's meet here at this time and do that. So that sales process has changed dramatically. And this goes back, Wayne, to last week when we talked about website and whether you should do it on your own or not. Your website has to be educating and informing the client from the very beginning. And if it's not doing that well, you're not even going to get the phone call. So things have changed drastically. You know, I got an older brother of mine who's got a marketing degree, and he called me about a month ago, and he said, you know, Joe, it's amazing to me. Everything I have to do to get a client now, none of that was taught in school when I was in school. Everything has changed completely. There was no Facebook. There was no LinkedIn. Now we get a chance to research who the potential client might be.
Yep.
So even if it's what used to be called a cold call, there's no more cold calling. You should know who the buyer is, and you should know what it is they're looking for. And so information is absolutely the key, and it's happening on both ends of the spectrum on that.
Exactly, Joe.
Exactly.
And you said the word information about 20 times, which is absolutely correct. That's what's different.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference in the sales process. So anyway, that's been today's Coach's Corner question. If there's a question you'd like us to tackle, since our promo says there is no issue on which at least we can't talk about. May not know the solution, but we can talk about it.
Yep, and we still have David Bradley with Statesville Chamber sitting here with us quietly.
We do.
Yes, sir.
Great to have you, David.
It's always good to be here.
So, David, thank you so much. We appreciate you bringing Pam with CrossFit. We really do appreciate that.
Oh, she is excellent. You know, Joe, we try to do some funky things periodically.
You are kind of funky. David is kind of funky.
So we talk about networking and the value of networking, and we all have to do that, but sometimes we don't really know how to do it. So we've developed, largely Ashley Stevenson, who's our marketing director, developed a program called Sweat Working. And so once a month.
Say that again.
Sweat working.
Sweat working.
So once a month we gather folks to go all work out together, and it's a pretty interesting.
So you turn them over to Pam. Is that what you do?
Probably the best session that we've had was with Pam at CrossFit Cyclone, and the value is you get to see people in a different environment, and you
this is
build
a great
little bit
idea.
of a bond. But the other side to that is you get people are intrigued to do something about their health and well-being that otherwise they would not have had that reason or motivation. So Pam and the folks at CrossFit are awesome.
Yeah. That is really a great idea. So you go to different gyms each month? Is that what happens?
Mm-hmm. So we might do kickboxing this month, and next month we might do something at Statesville Fitness and Recreation Center, and we'll be coming back to see Pam at CrossFit. So it's we get it.
So what did Pam do when you were with her? What did that look like?
Well, I was expecting that we would have sort of CrossFit light. And we didn't have that.
It wasn't light enough for you.
It was. So we did. We had a series of. A whole program. They included push-ups. It included pull-ups. It included running about a quarter mile. It included a lot of kettlebell work. It was outstanding.
David, are you going to be mad at me? You know I'm on the board of directors at Lake Norman Chamber with Bill Russell, right? Would you be mad at me if I tried to duplicate this?
I think that's
wonderful
awesome.
idea.
I think it's
I
awesome.
think it is a good idea.
I really love this idea.
So
I'm going to see if I could do more push-ups or sit-ups than Wayne.
Yeah, you better work at it.
So no, we're in the chamber world. We're all glorified thieves. So
Can I steal this one? I love this idea.
Absolutely,
Glorified thieves.